I'd like to say, apologize to the Raider Nation. I really compliment the Falcons. They played a hell of a football game, and we did not. The turnovers, the penalties, inexcusable. It's a reflection of me. We're a lot better team than that, and I'll answer any questions that I can.
Yeah, John, Jerry McDonald, had you seen anything during the course of the week in terms of preparation that indicated that something was off, and how are you able to put a game like this behind you and move on?
Well, we just did. We just put it behind us, and that's what we have to do, and that's what we will do. It's a challenge right now for any team, I think, concentrating through all the adversity, the ups and downs, players coming and going. There's some things you got to fight through, but when we got hit in the mouth, I think with the 4th and 1, the stop, then we fumble the next play. We've got to get up off the mat and fight back better as a coaching staff and as a football team, and that's something we got to take a look at. Like I said, it's a reflection of me, and I apologize to the Raider fans.
Hey, John, penalties, like you said, it was another issue today. Have you noticed a trend with that at all? Is a particular issue what's leading to those, or is it random?
No, we've like I said, we've been pretty good to this point. We've had a couple games where we have been penalized, roughing the passer, roughing the kicker. We had some holding calls, illegal hands to the face. You fall behind in the down and distance. You give teams free shots. It's a recipe for disaster, and that was what you saw today.
Hi, John. During the week, you pushed back pretty hard on this idea that this 6-4 team felt any different than it did last season, or anything. You were talking about finishing it. Did you have any feeling that maybe the team bought too much into that idea?
No. That's going to be written and talked about, I'm sure, on some of the talk shows, rightfully so. We didn't play well today. Falcons are fighting for their lives. We said that coming in here. This is one of the best 3-7 teams I have seen. They did this to Minnesota, who was a playoff team last year. And I challenge anybody that's getting ready for Atlanta. This team is a very good football team and are well coached.
John, these guys got to Derek a decent amount today. What was the biggest issue in pass protection today?
Well, we obviously had issues everywhere. It didn't help when Jalen was a scratch, our third down back. Not making any excuses. We're playing with some linemen that have been moving around. There's plenty of excuses we can make. But I credit Atlanta. I credit Atlanta again, and they deserve a lot of credit. They certainly do.
Hey, John, what do you think the offense got off to a slow start today in the first quarter? You guys had a hard time.
Well, I think, I think we get stuffed on a 4th and 1. And then I think on the very next play, we have a play-action pass, and then we get a sack strip fumble. So I think it started there. I think the turnover at the end of the first half, we're moving the ball. We're going to get some points. It's just then the third quarter. It wasn't good, and it snowballed on us today. And I've seen it happen before, but it can't happen again.
You mentioned snowballing, and that sometimes happens in this league. But is this a game where I'm going to burn the tape and just move forward instead of looking back? Is that kind of what you guys want to do?
Yeah, that's what we're going to do, and that's what we have to do. We got to learn from our mistakes. Obviously, we got a lot of players hurt today. That doesn't help our cause. But the offices are closed tomorrow. The offices are closed on Tuesday. There's a lot of distraction right now. We got to stay focused, get our players healthy, see who's available for practice on Wednesday, and we'll regroup and hopefully play much better next week.
John, obviously you guys you mentioned this week you're playing Raheem Morris, who's familiar with you from having coached with you. Do you think that this game was more, would you lean more towards self-inflicted wounds, or was it just what they were doing on defense is a matchup problem?
Oh, look at the film. We had some players open. We had opportunities to make plays. And I'm not going to sit here and say anything else. We had plenty of opportunities. They made more plays than we did, and it snowballed on us today. And when you turn the ball over 5 times and have 120 yards of penalties, you got no chance.
Go ahead, Adam.
Coach, we've talked about some of the positive, momentum and just keeps building on itself. The way that Derek has played so well this year, do you worry that this could one bad game turn into 2 or 3?
No, this is National Football League. this is a tough business, and he's been through a lot, and he'll be fine. We just got to regroup. We got to get on the plane, and we got to get ready for the next one.
Last question, Vic. Yeah, you mentioned injuries. Any concern over Jacobs or Arnett?
Yeah, obviously there is, and hope to get Cleve Farrell and LaMarcus Joyner and Trent Brown back sometime soon. But Denzel Good hurt his ankle; he came back, so we've got a litany of things to look at, and we'll update you as soon as possible. Thanks, guys.
Thank you, guys.
Hey, Derek, Jerry McDonald. It seemed almost like from the very outset, something was off today offensively. Is there anything you can pinpoint at all? Did it feel that way?
It absolutely felt that way. I didn't think, personally, we had our best week of practice. Personally thought we were a little flat. Clearly, that was the case in the game. And anytime you turn the ball over like that, you're not going to win football games. That's very rare. Percentages are really low. So, I haven't felt this way in a while. So it's a gut punch for sure.
You were asked about it during the week. Did it feel like last year's game against the Jets, kind of a similar thing, week 12?
Yeah, absolutely did. And again, I still stand by what I said. It feels different on this team, but our week of practice was not to the standard that we have set. That we have really had. Again, I haven't felt this way with this team yet. Where we got punched in the face and it just kept happening. And our hats, we have to give credit to Atlanta for how good of a team they are. We knew it based on the film. We knew it based on top 10 rush defense, top 10 third downs. They did a great job on third down today. And honestly, when you watch the film, we're an assignment here, assignment there, a better throw here, a better throw there from a lot of points. And I think that's the most frustrating part when you get, the crap kicked out of you like that. Is how close we were to some really big plays.
Eric, was there anything in particular they were doing up front against you guys in order to get that kind of pressure they got off the edge?
No, in the pocket, that stuff happens all the time where guys are right there or they hit your arm or something like that. And sometimes you get the ball off, sometimes they get there a half second early. And I don't think that, it was just anything different that they did or anything like that. I thought they played really well. I thought they made their plays and a couple times got to me just in the nick of time because we had, on one, we had Henry on a post for a touchdown. And then we had Nelson on a double move for a touchdown late. And, again, those things happen all the time where there's chaos in the pocket and they hit your elbow or they hit your arm as you're throwing it. And then there's also times where that happens and you get the ball off just before they touch you, So I don't think it was anything different, but you have to give them credit for making those plays.
Derek, can you talk a little bit about the realism of the snowball effect? It seems like if one thing goes wrong, another can go wrong, another can go wrong. It seemed like that kind of just snowballed today with the team. Yeah,
it did. Chris, there's no argument here on that. That it definitely happened today. It was a snowball effect of just bad plays and very frustrating loss. We haven't done that in a while. We haven't done that in some time. So very, very frustrating. And this is one of those where you want to watch it, correct it, and then burn the film because you're like, that's not who we are, But it is. We put it on film. It is what it is. And there's one or two ways we can handle it. We can say, oh crap, and just keep giving into that, or we can grit our teeth like I think our team will and get ready, because we have a team that kicked the crap out of us last year coming next. They beat the dog out of us last time, so we better get our minds right before we get on that plane for that game.
Eric, I was literally going to say that, not to minimize what happened today or the lessons that you can learn, but is there sometimes a case to be made for just burn the tape? Don't even really necessarily worry about it. It wasn't necessarily who you guys are, and just move on as quickly as you can from it.
Yeah, personally, you want to burn it, but there, as a competitor, you still have to make the corrections. You still have to watch the tape. There's always something to be learned, win or loss. For me, my mindset last week was the same as it was this week, and during the game. if there's something different, when I watch the film, I correct it and things like that. But you try your best to find this process I always talk about, even in the game, and stay right there. And if you find little blips, then it's a reminder to, hey, that's not what we do. This is what we do. So I really, for me, I got to make the corrections. There's too many, 2 or 3 throws where it's like, I don't do that, it drives me nuts, and I got to live with that all week. That's what I earned today. I got to live with that, but at the end of the day, we do have a team that we're going to play that beat the dog out of us. And if we don't come ready to play, we don't come ready to work on Wednesday for practice, and it better start before then. But if we don't come ready to work, they're going to do it again.
Hi, Derek. So you mentioned that you felt flat this week in practice. Do you feel like maybe that was kind of like a hangover after coming so close and just putting so many points up against the Chiefs and just falling just short? And also, is there a fear that this, you had mentioned that you think is a different 6-4 type of team, but is there a fear that after a loss like this, you could be like, here we go again?
I've been here, I think now, me and Gabe have been here the longest, and it doesn't feel like that, I have felt that feeling where, around the guys were like, oh crap, here we go, and it's not the same, for whatever that's worth, it's not, I know that feeling, I've seen that feeling, that frustration, but I did feel it in practice talking to a few guys too, and I made sure it wasn't just me, I asked a couple guys, and you try and get guys going in practice, and you try and get yourself going and things like that, but it just didn't feel right, and I don't know what the reason for that was. I don't know why that happened. I think we've done a great job of flushing win or loss and then going to the next game. I think Coach does a great job of that. He makes sure we know every good thing about the next team we're about to play to make sure that we're ready to go. And so I don't know if it was a hangover type effect. Maybe, I don't know. I'd have to study that. I don't know. But for me, I just know it wasn't up to our standard. So this week it better be.
Hey, Derek, you guys have had a lot of fumbles in the pocket so far this season. Is there anything you can do as a quarterback to avoid those kind of fumbles? I mean, obviously you're not going to be protecting the ball like a ball carrier, but is there anything you can do on your end to avoid those?
Yeah, absolutely. We practice it all the time too. I think that's the frustrating part. I think on the first one, we always talk about 2 hands on the ball. I had 2 hands on the ball, and he literally just hit right on my forearm, and the ball slipped out of my hands, and then. Really, the other 2 were as I was throwing. One was I never saw the last 2 guys. I never saw them. Those things, you don't want them to happen, but they happen. But anytime I can see the guy, I try my best to get 2 hands on the ball, and I should have took that ball to my chest. That was a bad play. Bad play by me on the first one. The other 2, I got to get the ball out quicker. It's definitely not my line's fault. They've been doing a heck of a job. So. I got to do a better job of stepping up and making my read happen faster.
Hey, Derek, because of the increase in COVID cases, the NFL has determined that teams can't go back to their facility either Monday or Tuesday. I'm just curious whether are you concerned that you're not going to be able to get together as a group and look each other in the eye for the next 2 days and kind of sort it over, or is that just going to go on virtually or on the phone, or it's a different setup than it would normally be to bounce back?
Yeah. Again, Jerry, this is like it's one of those things we don't know how to really deal with this. We never had to deal with this. I mean that we've never had to deal with this before in my time in the NFL, and probably in your time covering the NFL. This is unheard of kind of stuff, and it's pretty interesting that we can't go in the building. I understand that they're trying to make us and our families as safe as possible, and we appreciate that. But as a football team, especially after something like this, you want to get back to work. You don't want that taste in your mouth for a couple of days. But honestly, for us, maybe it's a good thing. A lot of guys can reflect. A lot of guys can watch the tape and really see, if it was their best effort, and if practice was their best effort. And we do a really good job of washing stuff away, win or loss. We get on the plane and we do what we do. And I think that we have a better group. For sure than what we put on tape today, but our fans deserve better than what we did today. Our organization deserves better than what we put out there today. That was a bunch of trash.
Great. Thank you, Derek.
All right. Thank you all.
Hey, Hunter, Jerry McDonald, you guys have been so good and so efficient for almost the whole season. Is it almost shocking to see the way you guys kind of came apart today? Like you're never able to get in sync?
Not necessarily shocking. I mean, they're a professional football team just like we are, and I didn't feel like we showed up. I think the way we kind of it just kind of one thing after the other, whether it was a flag we got or a turnover, we just never really got it going. And I thought the defense played pretty well, especially early. They gave us a chance, but yeah, offensively we just have to play better. And it was surprising a little bit because we know we're better than that, and we have a lot of good players, and so we'll just have to get back and get better.
Derek talked about maybe it wasn't your best practice week last week, the scheme itself, not you in particular. Did you get a sense that there was maybe a letdown in practice last week that kind of walked into this kind of a situation?
Not necessarily. I think every week is different. I think we have a lot of guys that are trying to get better, and that's kind of the standard we've set. It'd be easy to kind of say, yeah, we had a bad week of practice, this is what happened, this is why this happened. And maybe Derek saw something that I didn't. He's got a better kind of handle on everything than we're just in the receiver room, and he's got a good temp of the whole offense. So maybe he's got a little bit perspective than me, but I didn't think so. And if we did, then hopefully we could have seen it and say, all right, well, the week was this week, and flush it, and we're going to have a good game.
So the general feeling seems to be that the Raiders, though they came into this game 6-4, it felt completely different this season than it did last year. How do you? Is there a fear that with a loss like this, it could be, oh, here we go again? And how do you guard against that?
I don't think there's a fear because we control it. I think we have a lot of really good guys on our team, a lot of football character guys. I know we cliche and we talk about it a lot, but we control our destiny, and we really do. It'd be one thing if I was scared because I didn't know the type of people we had in the room, whether they're going to fold whenever it get tough, but I really feel like we have a really good group of guys, and it does feel different this year. It really does. And we'll keep saying that, and we just got to finish better than we did last year, but we just got to flush it and have a good week next week.
Hunter, I know there's never a good time for a penalty, but it kind of seemed like today that they kind of came at some of the most inopportune times, whether it was the red zone or on third down. How much tougher does that make it to kind of shake those things off?
Yeah. Someone alluded to earlier, just being a very efficient football team. And when you make mistakes like that and get behind the chains, and then you kind of get out of some of your calls that you would call in 3rd and 5, and now it's 3rd and 12, So I think that has to do with a little to do with it. But, yeah, I mean, sometimes the ball just doesn't roll your way. And that's kind of how I'm looking at it. To me, it doesn't matter if you lose by 40 or you lose by 1 point, you lost, So we'll just have to get better this week. And the good thing is it's not like we lost this game, we're eliminated from the playoffs, We have a chance to go out there and fight and really have that opportunity to go get better next week. And I think it's a good opportunity to go to the Jets. They kind of derailed our season last year. And so what an opportunity for us to be able to go there and kind of get some redemption, per se.
Yeah, Hunter, because of all of the rise in COVID cases, the NFL's determined that teams can't go back to their facility at all on Monday and Tuesday, and that everything is virtual. I'm just curious as to whether you think, to bounce back from something like this, that you're not going to be able to be with guys and look them in the face and talk to them about what happened. Can all that stuff be done virtually, or are you? Derek even thinks maybe it's good to get away from space. What do you think?
You never know how God works. He sometimes he puts things and sets things up so that they're in your best case scenario. But I mean, it could be good to get away. You never know, and it really comes down to the individual player, how we respond. I think there's a million excuses out there, and this would be easy to say, all right, we can't come in the facility the next 2 days. That's an excuse, but everybody deals with it. We got to start looking at these excuses as positives. And how are we going to be more effective the next Monday and Tuesday than everybody else in the league? And if we can do that, then we're going to find success along the way.
Great. Thank you, Hunter.
Awesome. Thank y'all.
Hey, Johnathan, I want to ask you a little bit about that snowball effect. When one thing seems to go wrong, another goes wrong, and another seems to go wrong. Can you kind of talk a little bit about that?
I don't really think it was a snowball effect. I don't think that we came and we were. I don't want to say we weren't prepared, but we were prepared. I just don't think we came out today. We was kind of flat, and it was just kind of a chain effect. It really wasn't a snowball effect. It was just we just really couldn't get going on offense. Defense. They had a couple plays where they ended up getting in the end zone, but overall we just have to do better on both sides and all phases of the game. And today it just wasn't there.
Yeah, John. Derek seemed to think that practice he thought was a little flat this week. And that might have been an issue. Is that something that you sensed at all during the course of the week?
At times, but I feel like we had a very clean week of practice, as far as assignments and executing. But, it just didn't show today. We have to, on both sides of the ball, we have to come out a little bit more intense. We have to do better for the offense to get turnovers and, shorten the field position, same way that the Falcons done. And, and just go from there, and the same vice versa for offense. We gotta not combat, but we gotta complete each other, basically. We gotta help each other, and we didn't do that today.
Johnathan, once they kind of did get into the red zone on offense, it looked like they were kind of using some crossing routes and things like that. What exactly were they doing down there in terms of getting those first couple touchdowns?
On one of them on the fourth down, they ran. It was a really good play by them. So they ran like an insert, which is like a run play almost. He insert and ran a 7 route, which is kind of why the corner was a step off, and because usually on that he's taught to fit outside. So like I said, that was just a great play by them. And then on the second touchdown, the double crosser, we start cutting, but on that one we got to cut, and when you get cut, you got to get your eyes to the opposite side of the formation so you can help out. And we done it for the most part, as you can see throughout the game. We got a lot of big stops on third down, but on that one we just didn't. We didn't communicate well enough, and we ended up allowing them to score.
Johnathan, can I ask you another question just about Jon Gruden said he apologizes to Raider Nation for this effort. Carr said it was trash. How would you describe today's game?
I'll apologize to our fans as well. That's not who we are. That's not what we want to put on film. Especially coming off a heartbreaking loss like we did last week. We were supposed to come out here this week and kind of take our anger out on the Falcons, and I kind of feel like we didn't do that. I kind of feel like we had a pity party for ourselves.
All right, thank you, John.
Nick, what would you say is more frustrating to you? A game like last week when the offense for the Chiefs just kind of starts making these long drives and then late drive to win the game, or a game like this where the defense plays pretty well and does a lot of really great things, only to kind of feel like you're just kind of spinning the wheels. Which would you think is more frustrating to you?
Honestly, just anytime you lose, it's frustrating. So no matter how it comes, it's just anytime you lose, it's frustrating. Equally as frustrating, no matter if it was close, not close. It's always frustrating.
Nick, would you pinpoint penalties as to why you think that the defense was not able to hold up throughout the game, or do you think that there was bigger issues other than just penalties?
Penalties don't help ever, but it's definitely something I'll go back, watch the film. Anytime you get a penalty, especially third down, fourth down, whatever it may be, it gives the offense an opportunity. It hurts us as defense. So, penalties definitely can kill a defense.
Nick, did you feel good about the week of practice? Derek candidly said he did not. He didn't think it was a great week of practice.
Overall, I didn't think it was the best week, but it definitely was better than a lot of weeks. So, I didn't really think anything of it.
Nick, can I ask you a little bit about that whole theory of kind of the snowball effect, and one thing goes wrong, another goes wrong, seems another one goes wrong. It seemed like that happened today.
Honestly, I have to go back and watch the film. Just speaking on defensively, we had some penalties, some things didn't go our way. But like I said, I got to go back and watch the film really to pinpoint something.
Great, thank you, Nick.
No problem.
Henry, for an offense that's operated so smoothly throughout the year, was it how strange was it to be out there and be like kind of out of sync from the beginning and never really get into it?
It was definitely definitely a different feeling, kind of frustrating because, I mean, we know the type of offense we are and we know the type of things that we're capable of, and that was, I mean, tonight was just not a display of, what our offense can do.
Hey, Henry, the team had played so well the last 5 games or so, and then you come out with this. Jon Gruden apologized to Raider Nation, and Derek Carr said this game was trash. How would you describe this game?
I mean, frustrating. It was bad. I mean, bad on our part. Too many turnovers. Shot ourselves in the foot too many times. We didn't come away with any touchdowns as many times as we was in the red zone. So, I mean, it's bad.
Any other questions, guys?
It was your most targets, I think, this opener. You had obviously some productivity today. Did you feel any excitement or maybe pride of having a good game, even though maybe the team was struggling a little bit?
I don't know how many times I've said this. I'm not really a personal stat guy. I don't care. I mean, when my opportunities come, I make my plays. But I mean, in a game like this, it's not much to celebrate about. I mean, we're not clicking on all cylinders. A personal play to celebrate, that'll be selfish, and I'm not that type of guy.
Okay. All right, we're good. Thank you, Henry.